Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back to Wall Street Bullion. Our guest today is Clem Chambers. He is the CEO of the Online Blockchain PLC, and he is also the founder of an upcoming financial information website called anewfn.com. Welcome to Wall Street Bullion, Clem.
Great to be on, Ivan. It's a great time, precious metal people. I'm not normally over the many years. I've always shied away from precious metals, but you trade what you see, not what you think. And when you look at what's going on around, it's a very strong place to be positioned in.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much craziness and financial instability in the world, and people are just rushing to, just to protect their assets, to protect themselves against inflation. And I wanted to get you on to talk about everything that's happening in that space, and of course in the financial markets. But let's start off with gold. Where do you think gold and silver is heading in 2025? What's your outlook?
Well, with all investments, you need to have a model. You need to ask why, who, what, where, when, how, and why. And the big question with gold is why. Now, the standard answers I don't agree with. I mean, I don't agree that it's the only true metal and that, is ordained by the gods to be money and paper money is evil and it's new and it's terrible and it's all going back to, silver and gold in your pocket and all that stuff. I don't take any account of that. And also, I don't take an account of things that people want to sell me a lot. Oh, buy this investment, buy this. I don't want to buy anything that anyone's selling. I only want to
Right.
buy what I want to buy because I think it's going to go somewhere. So the fundamental question to me with gold is, what's the use case of gold? What's the purpose of gold? What's going on there with gold? Now
Right.
you can see that there are many people that absolutely love gold, and I love gold. I wear gold. I've got gold watches. I've got gold coins. I love gold, but that's not a reason to invest. So what is the purpose of gold? And when you think about it hard, you say, oh, well, electronics. Oh, well, yeah. And then there's jewelry. Yeah. So what else? Well, there's dentistry. It used to be anyway. Yeah. And anyway, well, governments have lots of it. Yeah. Why? Well, I mean, yeah. Well, why do governments hold lots of gold? And the
Right.
answer is actually simple, and people don't underline this. But when you think about it, it's obvious. Gold is for war. Governments hold gold because when you're in war, that's the only money other people will take from you. Because
Uh,
it's no good printing paper money. They don't want that. If you lose a war, your paper's worthless.
right. You
The only
need
thing that's
gold.
worth is gold. And that's why, countries have warehouses full of gold. It's not because they think they're going to be printing sovereigns again and that they're going to stop having their paper money. It's not as if paper money and or credit hasn't been going since the beginning of time.
Right.
Gold might be the basis for lots of credit, paper money exchangeable into gold and all that stuff. But the bottom line of gold is if you are fighting a war, you send your gold around to people that are supplying you raw materials because that's all they want to see. That's all they want to have.
Right.
If you want to buy a ship or a tank or some metal, I mean, I'll tell you a funny story. I mean, it's a bit bleak, but I find it kind of rather amusing. Back in the Second World War, the Germans thought it was a great idea to forge English £5 notes
Okay.
because English currency was very well respected. And one of the ideas was they were just going to parachute it all over Britain and devalue British paper money. And that's the story that is often told. But what is not often told is that they were buying tungsten off the Portuguese in British £5 notes. The Germans,
Really?
Adolf Hitler and the Nazis were printing English £5 notes and buying tungsten for their, bullets, armor piercing stuff
Right.
with British forged £5 notes.
There's about $15 trillion worth of physical gold in the world sitting there costing money rather than being used is just absolutely insane. Monetary Metals is bringing gold back into the financial world, putting gold to productive use right now. The problem with gold, of course, in physical form is that it's heavy, it's cumbersome, it's not particularly easy to ship, and it costs money to store in a protected manner. This platform Monetary Metals created is a proven concept and allows gold to be put to productive use. So instead of sitting there costing you money, it's actually in use earning you money.
Learn how you can earn 2 to 5% in our leasing program and how accredited investors can earn up to 12% on silver paid in silver. This advertisement is not investment or financial advice. Minimum investment applies.
And at some point, the Portuguese went, hold on a minute. These British fivers, they seem to be a bit wet. Where you get, no, we don't want British fivers from you Germans anymore. You
Right.
better just send us some gold.
Ah.
And the reason the Germans didn't want to send gold was because they preferred to buy other stuff from other people with that. And meanwhile, con the Portuguese with freshly printed English forged money. Now, that is why gold is for war, because they don't want a load of old, paper from a country that might fold. I mean, when I was a kid, I bought a whole load of Russian banknotes from, around the First World War. I mean, if I kept them, they're probably worth a lot now. But, they were confetti because the
Wow.
Russian government had collapsed, right? Now, so if you are a government and, you are fretful, you need to lay in gold reserves. And, why do you think China's buying lots of gold right now? It's not because they all want to, buy and make Rolexes, fake Rolexes in China, or make even more electronics. It's because world tension is rising. And as world tension rises and you're in a treasury of a country, and everyone's going to go, oh, I'm not quite too happy with the next door neighbor getting a little bit spicy. You've got to say, well, we need to start laying in a bit more gold then. We need to
Wow.
start puffing up our reserves of gold. Because if the shirt hits the fan, they're going to want us to pay in gold
And
or, an element of gold maybe, but gold is the currency of war. And as global tension rises, so countries need more reserves, and so for they buy more gold. And it's a one-way bet because global tension is not gonna go down anytime soon. Please, sir, can you tell me when global tension is going to start to go the other way back to, Kumbaya again? Please,
yeah.
sir, because that would be nice. That would be good. I like that idea. Now, guys and girls, don't forget to subscribe and like and make Ivan's day. Because every time you subscribe and every time you like, you push him up the YouTube algo, and they YouTube don't want him up that algo. They don't want you to know this stuff, you see. So if you want other people to know about this, subscribe and like and get him up that algo so other people can find this channel. Because I tell you, those guys at Google, those guys at YouTube, they don't want to hear stuff about gold. They don't want to hear stuff about what I've been saying. So, press those buttons, get subscribed, get liked, and do everybody a favor. But it's not
Yeah.
going to happen, is it?
No,
Not for years.
you absolutely nailed it, Clem. And you know what? I've been interviewing people for like 4 years, talking about gold and silver, and not one of them have gave me, that outlook where it's like, countries want to stockpile gold because of global tensions to use it to trade for war supplies or war material, which is
Well,
fascinating.
the thing you have to remember is, let's just say I'm your chancellor. It's well, sir, we're not going to go to war. We're going to avoid it at all costs. But it's an insurance policy. It
Right.
would be reckless for us not to realize and prepare, or be at least a little bit prepared for the worst. And as the clock ticks towards midnight, so we have to lay in more of these reserves. In the same way as we have to rearm. I mean, we can't just
Yeah.
sit here and see the other side arming up. We have to arm up too. And we can't just sit here and watch them build up their reserves, or military or otherwise, and not build up ours. And it's critical in this situation to have strategic and critical minerals, right, for various reasons.
Right.
And the strategic role of gold as a strategic mineral is as money, international money. And, that is something that we have to lay in. We just can't sit there and just watch them, get ready and be prepared. We have to prepare also. So, that is, doesn't have to be a war.
Right.
It doesn't have to suddenly, break out tomorrow for everybody to, grab their golden eagles and head for the border. It's simply an increase in tension that will increase the real value of gold, because gold's value equals global tension. And I mean, if you look at gold, the way that it stopped going up and actually got quite soft, it lost one of its use cases. And
Right.
one of its big use cases was flight capital. And oh no, things are going wrong. I'm in Afghanistan, and the Americans are pulling out. Oh, I've got to head for the border. Oh, what asset am I going to go with? Well, gold's pretty heavy, but now you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't
No.
put gold in your pickup truck or whatever, or try to get it on a plane. You'd
No.
use Bitcoin. Bitcoin is fabulous flight capital because you can buy it. And you don't care if you pay a big premium for it. Get on an airplane with a smart stick in your ear, get off the other side, boom. And in fact, the moment you buy it, your money that was in that country is now gone. It's gone somewhere else. I mean, it's gone into the digital void. So it's flight capital. Bitcoin is way better than gold because you cannot, head out. In fact, one of the Afghan ministers left $5 million in cash on the runway airport and tarmac because he
You
couldn't
should
get any more of his stuff on the plane
see
or on the helicopter, I think.
if he just had like, those keys, the
Yeah,
keys to his blockchain or to his account, you could just have it on a piece of paper,
yeah.
roll out.
Or on his computer or on his telephone or whatever, where it's tattooed under his arm. I mean, it's a great way to leave a country with $500 million. But
Wow.
gold is what, $70 million a ton these days? I can't remember. I've lost track.
Around there.
Um, so it's $80,000 a kilo, isn't it? So if you want 80 million, that's a ton.
And and transporting it would be like the logistics and the cost to transporting that out of the country, 17 or 18 million a ton. It, yeah,
Well, you're
you're
going to land
absolutely
and
right.
they're going to ask you, what is that big box of heavy metal that you're pushing through the airport?
They won't even
You go, is
allow
there
it.
more than 10,000 tons, $10,000, sir?
Yeah, no, you're
You know,
absolutely right, Clem. Now,
yeah.
I wanted to also get you on to talk about a newfn.com. What are you doing there? It's an information financial website, but what is it exactly and what does it offer?
Well, when I was a young man, I started a financial website, and I ran it for 20, 30 years nearly. And I've been out of that for 2 years. And all these ideas of what it could be the next big thing as a financial platform has been brewing in my mind and my team's mind for a couple of years. And we thought, well, let's go, let's do it. And we built and ran Investors Hub in the US
Okay.
and ADVFN in Europe, which are two huge private investor communities. And really, we just once the dust has settled and we started, the key thought is, and you might agree or disagree, if you look at the internet, the web these days, it looks like 2000 or 2005.
Right. It does
It's,
have that older feel to it.
yeah, it's 2025 now. Nobody's the web, Amazon, Google, Facebook haven't kept up with 25 years of technology development.
Right.
None of it has. It's all old hat. So we thought we would do some new hat. And so that's what we're building. And at the moment, we're building up a guest list for when we actually crack it open and let the first community members in and get their feedback and get their ideas. Because we bought those the earlier sites, which are still huge and still out there, basically on user feedback. I mean, what they want, and what we know actually they really need. Those two things together, and
Wow.
as Henry Ford said, if you ask customers what they wanted, they would have said they want a better buggy whip, not necessarily a better car. But that's we're coming from doing something that is of this decade rather than 2 decades ago, and that's something that will be coming out in the coming months. And if anybody wants to put their name down on the guest list, they'll be early to the party.
I will put the link in the description below. Everyone watching, I highly recommend to go put your name on the guest list. A newfn.com, they can just go there and then add their name to
Just
the
go
guest
there.
list.
There it all is, looking all new age, internety.
Wow.
Because we're doing like the young kids out of college do, which is have drops.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a drop and all that stuff, rather than the way the old fashioned people would do it, which is, so we've
Right.
done it all and it's all ready to go, and we're going to do advertising and build it up and build it up, and then there it is.
No, you
It's
got to
it's
do a
more like,
drop.
yeah, here it is. What bit do you like? What bit don't you like? What bit would you like more of? What would you like less of? And because that's the customer I'm customer one, but there's all the other customers, and they, that's we want to give people what they want and what they need, and
Yeah.
combine those two things. And there's a dearth of reliable, timely stuff out there, and it's all very tired. I mean, it's all very Yahoo, bless them. It's like, yeah, that was really leading edge, like when I was young and my
Yeah.
hair was a different color and had more of it.
Yeah, no, you absolutely nailed it. That's actually really, really exciting. I highly recommend everyone to go put your name on the guest list. I'll put the link in the description below. Now, before you leave, Clem, I'd really love you to talk about, I guess, what's either concerning you the most these days about the global economy, or what do you have your eye on?
Um, there's a lot of things. I mean, really, my job as an investor is to think thoughts and have various things boiling away. On crypto, I think we were at the end of that run, and that maybe it might go up another 20 or 30%, but I think we've seen it. And I do wonder whether isn't Mr. Saylor isn't single-handedly making the price. So I'm kind of, I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm bearish on crypto, although I am. It's just that I can't be bothered with it anymore because it's done its thing, and
Right.
it will do its crash thing at some point in this year, and then everyone will say, "Woe is me, it's the end." And then in 4 years, 2 or 3 years time, it'll go and do the Bitcoin and boomy bit again. And so I'm kind of it's tired, and very soon will be expired. Precious metals are just going to grind up and up and up. Not necessarily, vertical. It's not necessarily going to go boom bubble. It's just going to grind.
Right.
Because I mean the big $24,000 trillion question is Mr. Trump.
Yeah.
And has anybody else seen anything quite like it? I certainly haven't.
No.
And so that's a large piece of volatility, which is almost impenetrable. But I don't think it's necessarily going to do any harm to the gold price because it's certainly not going to. He's not going to lull anybody into comfort and security and easiness. It's going to shake, rattle, and roll for at least 4 years, or 3 years and 363 days. And that's going to be a key theme. I think we're going to see a bubble in the NASDAQ. I mean, a lot of people would say it's already there, but I think a bubble was something special. And when you get a bubble, everything goes crazy. There
Yeah.
will be a crazy phase in the NASDAQ, which will be, a great time for traders. If you get in on that bubble when it starts and make sure you get out before it stops. There's a lot of money to be made there, and precious metals is a straight DCA stack, and I like platinum. I like platinum a lot
Yeah.
because, as I said, I keep saying to people, "Do you know how much platinum they make a year?" And everyone goes, "Oh, 10,000 tons." No. Oh, what? Tens of thousands of tons? No. Well, what then?
How many do they?
180 tons.
Ooh, that's it.
180. Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
keep having to
nothing.
check the number just to make sure I'm not dreaming.
That's nothing.
Zero, right? Yeah.
Wow. So that's, yeah, there's huge value in all the bullions, palladium, platinum. But that's incredible. Platinum, they only do 180 tons a year. I thought it was way more than that.
Well, palladium was $4,000 an ounce only months ago, and now it's back down to 1,000. So
Right.
that shows you how friable it is. And the reason platinum is on its rear and nobody loves it is because there's a lot of it tied up in cat converters. And if you believe the previous American administration, there aren't going to be in internal combustion engines in another 5 years. But I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case. But
No.
obviously, if you cut all the cat converters off of all the cars in all the world, grind them up into powder and send them to China to turn back into platinum, then there's a reasonable amount of platinum coming to market. But it's a very, very important catalyst for all these new technologies coming. The hydrogen economy, which is something that I'm in at the moment, the battery technology, all the catalysts for doing all these clever things with various chemicals that in sustainability. So
Right.
it's absolutely strategic, vital metal in industrial chemistry. And then when all those cat converters have been converted, you still only get 180 tons a year coming out. So at the moment, there's
Wow.
this, oh, cat converters, oh, there's going to be plenty of it. And then suddenly it'll be, oh, can we have some more, please? No. Why not? Well,
There's
because
only 180.
we're not digging much out. They dig out 3,200 tons of gold a year, which
That's
is actually a reasonable percentage of the overall world supply, depending on how you want to count the world supply.
yeah.
But 180 tons,
That's
you know,
nothing.
nothing. It's
Wow.
nothing.
Wow, that's incredible to me. But Clem, I want to thank you so much for coming down to Wall Street Bullion. It's such a huge, huge pleasure having you on. And everyone watching, I highly recommend please go to newfn.com, sign up on the guest list. I'll put the link in the description below. But Clem, thank you so much for coming down.
Great to be on.
Talk to you soon.
See you soon.